So the team came together last night in a big way. Team Truth came together in a big way last night. And here are just some of the things that became abundantly clear to us as we went through this last night. So there's an email that was received by Dr. Fauci from somebody called Eric Nilsson at a company called BioSignal. And Nilsson warns on March the 18th, 2020, in very long form, and, we both get these emails, very long form, that, quote, I'm confident that China stopped counting dead COVID-19 infected bodies since January the 7th, 2020. They've been adding fabricated data daily to save face, the world, and their own people an impressive flattening of China outbreak curve. It's easy to prove this via data analysis because, for example, improbable coincidences incurred in much of the data. And it goes on and it's detailed, right? Now, it may be true, it may be false, but it goes on and it's detailed, and it's from somebody who's emailing with Fauci directly. Fauci's response to this is to forward this on to somebody else and say, too long for me to read. Fundamentally unconcerned is what Dr. Fauci is with
a little callous
with the idea that China is fabricating data.
Callous.
Now, listen, there may be an element of plausible deniability in there. Hey, I never read it. I didn't know. My hands are clean. But that's one of the things. Another of the things really interesting is that Fauci advised the Obama-era Health and Human Services Secretary, Sylvia Burwell, against wearing a mask. So Sylvia writes to him and says, I'm traveling to redacted. Folks are suggesting I take a mask for the airport. Is this something I should do? Please see below. Do the Chinese have needs for support right now? Would money be better spent on diagnostics or vaccine work? Effectively, what she's trying to do is raise money to send to China to quote-unquote aid them in their response to this, right? I would have just thought an Obama-era health secretary might have wanted to help raise money for America in defense about this, but she was more interested in raising money for China. Whatever. Park that. The response from Dr. Fauci was, Sylvia, masks are really for infected people to prevent them from spreading infection to people who are not infected rather than protecting uninfected people from acquiring infection. The typical mask you buy in the drugstore is not really effective in keeping out virus, which is small enough to pass through the material. It might, however, provide some slight benefit in keeping out gross droplets if someone coughs or sneezes on you. I do not recommend that you wear a mask, particularly since you are going to a very low-risk location. Your instincts are correct. Money is best spent on medical countermeasures such as diagnostics and vaccines. So again, that is Dr. Fauci on February the 5th, 2020.
The very lead there, he's already past therapeutics. Doesn't even want to talk about therapeutics. Does not want to talk about therapeutics. Also, if Fauci came out here recently and said, when I went to the public, when I went on 60 Minutes and said that, we knew you had to wear a mask, but we didn't want to. Right. We don't PP. Right. This is just another stone cold. How many times has he perjured himself in front of the Senate, do you think, after going through these emails?
Oh, that brings me to the next email. Perfect layup. So Fauci has denied repeatedly.
It's almost like we planned this.
And we didn't, but that's the best part of it. Fauci has denied being involved in gain-of-function research. He's gone
adamant.
He's adamant about it. He said it to Rand Paul.
Doesn't know what you're talking about.
There was no gain-of-function. Right, it never happened.
Right.
And now we have this email that says, from Fauci to his deputy director, Hugh Auchincloss, I'm going to say?
Yes.
He says,
that's the administrative guy.
Yeah. He says, Hugh, it is essential that we speak this AM. Keep your cell phone on. I have a conference call at 7:45 a.m. with Azar. It will likely be over by 8:45 a.m. Read this paper, as well as the email that I will forward you now. You have tasks today that must be done. Thanks, Tony. Well, the paper that was attached to that email was specifically gain-of-function paper. It is the gain-of-function paper that is, Barrick and the Bat Lady are involved in, and they are talking about this in February. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but if Barrick isn't involved in gain-of-function, which were literally the words out of Fauci's mouth in the Senate when Rand Paul was going, then why is Fauci panicked emailing Auchincloss saying we need to discuss Barrick's paper on gain-of-function?
Here's the other smoking gun in this. Navarro will tell you the entire time at these meetings in the Situation Room, Fauci never, ever, ever mentioned the potential of anything that had gone on in any experimentation. never gave anybody a heads up of what Barrick and Dosick, all of them, were up to, about his involvement, about his deep understanding of the Chinese colleagues and what they were doing.
Right.
Fauci, I got to tell you, I know. And let's talk about real quickly the great Jack Posobiec has got a.
Well, I've just got two
okay,
more things on the emails real quick. Number one is where he says, no, there's no asymptomatic spread.
Yes.
He says that on February the 4th, 2020. He says most transmissions occur from somebody who is symptomatic, not asymptomatic. He also says, I'm really tired, not much sleep these days. And then there's another one from Christian G. Anderson. Now, Christian G. Anderson is a scientist out at the Anderson Lab at the Scripps Research Institute in California.
Well, he wrote that paper that gave him the paper about the natural thing. He's a bad guy.
Yeah, he's the one that's in back of the cover-up.
Bad dude.
But on January the 31st, 2020, Anderson writes to Fauci, and he says, on a phylogenetic tree, the virus looks totally normal, and the close clustering with bats suggests that bats serve as the reservoir. The unusual features of the virus make up a really small part of the genome, so one has to look really closely at all the sequences to see that some of the features potentially look engineered.
Exactly.
Now, at best, that proves that there was it's not a conspiracy theory to talk about the engineering of this virus, and that the heart of government, I mean, he's a government-funded scientist, by the way, at Scripps. Yep. The NIH-funded scientists were talking about engineering the virus. At worst, it's a massive cover-up, the likes of which the world has never seen.
Okay, we're going to come back in a second. We're going to pivot now to the vaccine.